That gut punch, when a stock you just bought on a hot tip drops 15% in a single week. Or that feeling of pure frustration when it seems like everyone on social media is celebrating huge wins, while your own portfolio is just red. It can feel like you're playing a game you're destined to lose, and you start wondering if investing is just for the rich, the lucky, or the ridiculously smart. Here's the secret. The small group of investors who consistently win aren't financial geniuses. They're not wizards with a crystal ball. They have just learned to sidestep 5 simple, yet devastating, traps that the other 90% fall into, time and time again. In this video, I'm going to walk you through all 5. But more importantly, I'm going to give you a clear, actionable strategy to navigate around each one. Let's go. I'm going to start with an insane fact. 90% of people who start investing lose money. That is crazy. You have these dreams of getting rich, buying a Lambo, a mega mansion, but instead, you actually have less money than you started with. And now you're scared of the stock market. It is an insane cycle. But today, I am going to show you how to not be one of them. Mistake number 1, and it's the most destructive mistake, is letting your feelings run your money. When it comes to your money, there are 2 emotions: fear and greed. When the market is exploding, greed starts screaming in your ear. You see other people getting rich, the FOMO is insane. So you buy. You buy at the top when prices are the highest. And then, the market crashes. That greed instantly turns into pure fear and your brain screams, sell everything. It's going to zero. So you sell everything, locking in your loss and sell low. This is the worst thing you can possibly do. Experts call this the behavior gap. And it literally costs normal people hundreds of thousands of dollars from their future because they can't control their feelings. We're gonna call him Bob. Bob sees a stock go to the moon. He gets FOMO, and he buys at the absolutely peak. A few months later, the market dives, the stock is down 30%, and he completely panics. He sells everything to stop the bleeding. He just made his loss permanent. But then there's Sarah, and she's a genius. She has a plan. She invests the exact same amount of money on the exact same day. Every single month. When that same crash happens, her automatic investment just buys more shares for cheap. When the market recovers, which it always has, Sarah's portfolio is now worth way more than Bob's. And Bob is sitting on the sidelines, too scared to ever invest again. The solution is so easy it's crazy. Make a plan and automate it. Before you invest $1, write down your plan. Then, set up automatic bank transfers. Automation destroys emotion. It forces you to be disciplined and it takes your finger off the panic button. Mistake number 2, and it is so common. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But beginners do this all the time. They hear about one hot stock from their friend or a CEO on TV and they bet everything on it. This is literally playing Russian roulette with your money. If you put all your money in one stock, your entire future is tied to that one company. Sure, if it's the next Amazon, you'll do great. But what if it's the next Enron, or just gets steamrolled by a competitor? You could lose everything. A single bad earnings report or a corporate scandal can obliterate 50% or more of your portfolio overnight. This is Tom. He works at a tech company and is 100% sure some tiny startup is the future, so he puts his entire life savings into it. The stock explodes and he feels like a king. But then, a competitor announces a better product. The startup's stock crashes 80%. Tom's entire future is gone. His coworker, Lisa, also loves tech. But instead of betting on one horse, she invests in a low-cost, global technology ETF. Her money is spread across hundreds of the world's biggest tech companies. When the same news hits, that one startup in her fund plummets. But it's just a tiny fraction of her portfolio. The rest of her holdings barely budge. Lisa's portfolio takes a small, temporary hit. Tom's was vaporized. The solution is diversification across different assets, industries, and countries. That sounds fancy, but it's never been easier. You don't need to pick hundreds of stocks. You can simply buy a couple of low-cost index funds or ETFs. A total stock market index fund gives you a small piece of thousands of US companies. Add an international index fund, and you own a piece of the whole world. With just 2 funds, you can be more diversified than a billionaire from 50 years ago. The third mistake is the modern-day version of a classic blunder: chasing hype. It used to be a whispered tip from a stockbroker. Now, it's a viral TikTok, a Reddit forum full of rocket emojis, or a social media guru promising the next 100x coin. This isn't investing. It's FOMO with a buy button. Beginners are prime targets for this because they often confuse luck with skill. In a bull market, when everything is going up, it's easy to think you're a genius. You buy a hyped-up stock, it goes up, and you start thinking you're the next Warren Buffett. This dangerous overconfidence leads you to take even bigger risks on things you don't understand, stepping way outside your circle of competence. You're not investing anymore. You're gambling. Take Mike. He spends his night scrolling through crypto influencers. He sees one coin that's gone, parabolic, and everyone is talking about their future Lambos. Terrified of being the only one not getting rich, he takes out a personal loan and buys the coin near its all-time high. A week later, the hype dies, the early crowd cashes out, and the coin's value implodes, dropping 90%. Mike is left with crushing debt and a worthless digital token. His friend, Jenny, does the opposite. She mutes the noise. She knows she doesn't understand crypto or speculative biotech. So, she invests in what she does understand: a simple, boring portfolio of index funds that represent the global economy. Her portfolio doesn't have a single day of explosive gains. It just grows, steadily and predictably. Mike chased a lottery ticket and lost. Jenny is quietly getting rich. The solution is to invest in what you understand and ignore hot tips. If you can't explain what a company does to make money in one simple sentence, you shouldn't own it. The most proven path to wealth isn't through wild speculation. It's through the disciplined, long-term ownership of productive businesses. The boring path is almost always the most profitable one. The fourth mistake that absolutely wrecks beginners is having insane expectations. After a strong decade for stocks, a lot of new investors think 20% or 30% returns every year are normal. They see past performance and assume it's a guarantee for the future. This mindset leads them to take on way too much risk, chasing impossible gains. Here's a dose of reality. For over a century, the stock market's historical average return has been around 7 to 10% per year, after you account for inflation. Expecting to double your money every couple of years isn't an investment plan. It's a fantasy. And when you have unrealistic expectations, you get impatient. You see your well-diversified portfolio chugging along at 8% and feel disappointed. That disappointment makes you a perfect victim for all the other mistakes on this list. Like chasing hype or making a huge, risky bet to juice your returns. Meet Alex. He started investing in 2021 and watched his portfolio skyrocket. He's convinced he's a stock-picking prodigy and plans to make 25% a year to retire in a decade. To get there, he's using leverage and piling into speculative stocks. But when the market does something completely normal, like drop 20%, he panics. His plan was based on everything only going up. He doesn't have the stomach for a downturn and sells at a massive loss, angry that the game is rigged. Now look at Ben. Ben's plan is grounded in reality. He assumes a conservative 7% average annual return over the long haul. He knows some years will be up 20% and some will be down 15%, but he's focused on the average. When the market drops, he's not surprised or scared. It's a normal part of the journey that he already planned for. He just keeps on with his automatic investments. Alex wanted to get rich quick. Ben is focused on getting rich for sure. The solution is to ground your financial plan in reality. Use conservative, historically accurate return assumptions of 7% to 10% for a diversified stock portfolio. Understand that this is just an average. By setting realistic goals, you develop the single most important trait for an investor: patience. Patience is what lets you ignore the noise and let compound interest do its magic. The fifth and final mistake is the sneakiest of them all, because it works in silence. Ignoring fees. Fees are a silent wealth killer. They look so small on paper. 1%, 1.5%, maybe 2% a year. But compounding works both ways. It can grow your wealth exponentially, or it can grow the amount of money you give away. Let's run to the numbers. Imagine you and your friend David each invest $100,000 for 30 years, and you both earn an average of 7% per year before fees. You invest in a low-cost index fund with a tiny 0.1% fee. After 30 years, your portfolio grows to about $710,000. David, however, uses an actively managed fund with a pretty standard 1.5% annual fee. After 30 years, his portfolio is only worth $475,000. That 1.4% difference in fees cost him $235,000. That's a house, a college education, a decade of travel in retirement. Gone. Vanished into the pockets of a fund manager. That is the devastating power of fees. The solution here is brutally simple. Become obsessed with minimizing costs. For almost every single investor, the best tools are low-cost index funds and ETFs. Many of these have fees, called expense ratios, below 0.1%. When you invest, the fee is one of the only things you can actually control. You can't control the economy, but you can control how much of your own money you get to keep. Choose to keep it. So there they are. The 5 traps that cause most beginners to stumble. They get emotional, they put all their eggs in one basket, they chase hype, they expect lottery-like returns, and they let fees eat them alive. But the good news is, now you know. You have the antidote for each of these mistakes. You know to build a plan and automate it, to diversify with low-cost funds, to ignore the noise, to be realistic, and to watch every penny in fees. Building wealth isn't about some secret trick or being a genius. It's about having a sound process and the discipline to stick with it. It's about avoiding the big mistakes that knock everyone else out of the game. You are now equipped with the knowledge that separates the successful investors from the crowd. If this video helped you, do me a small favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more content that cuts through the hype. Now I've got a question for you. Which of these 5 mistakes have you been most tempted by? Drop it in the comments below. Your story might just be the thing that helps someone else avoid that same trap. You have the roadmap. Now go build your future.